Hello everyone. As you can see by the title, I'm finally at Pennywell to do this video I've promised to do for ages. I did it last year before I had a laptop, so I've unlusted that one so you can't see because it's crap. But it did quite well, so now I've got better equipment. I wanted to come back and tell the story properly because it was one of the first ones I ever did. So I'm actually on a site which is called the Battlefield, and that noise you can hear in the distance is the busy A19, which is not that far away from here. So we're on the edge of Pennywell, one of the largest post World War II housing developments in the UK, probably Europe as well. So this story goes right back to 1644. Now, last time I was here, it wasn't such a wilderness, but a very historic area of Sunderland. To be honest, it was a bit of a drama getting here. After all this time, I got up early, went to the bus stop. I'd got 2 new bank cards on Friday, but it wouldn't work, even though I tested it yesterday at the cash point. Thankfully, the bus driver let me on. So if it wasn't for him, this video wouldn't be getting done. Now, the only problem is I've got to get back home, which is about 3.5 miles away. So if it doesn't work at a shop and get some money out, then it's a long walk home. But finally here, plus it was raining when I left the house, so I didn't expect to do it. So we're finally here, as you can see. It's early on a Sunday morning. I've just got to be careful because when I walk across this field at the start of the video, it's absolutely covered in dog shit. So I've got to watch where I walk. But I'm going to stand here because there's some people up there. So on the 27th of March 1950, one afternoon, workmen were putting the foundations in for one of the new houses, and they came across in the trench loads of skeletons. There's some pictures I'm going to insert into the video of what they actually saw. So they called 2 of the Sunderland aquariums and a member of the Sunderland museums came up to have a look at the site. They decided it was probably from the Civil War and that there wasn't much to be gained from it. So literally the concrete was poured in within about 36 hours. None of the remains were removed, and they were just literally left in situ under this house. They were only about 18 inches down. Now they reckon it was about 20 foot by 12 foot, this particular grave, and they reckon there could be up to 50 skeletons there. So this particular house lay unidentified until last year, with the help of a friend Bill Wildish from Sunderland Aquariums, who found a map from a local historian. I was able to identify, using geometry and overlaying some maps from then and now, the exact particular house it was. Okay, so this local historian called J.G. Hayden was a beekeeper from Pallion, so he must have come up, and what he did was he did his own maps showing the elevation of the particular site, which way the windows were facing, the bay windows, where some of the remains were found, and he must have given these to Sunderland Aquariums or done a speech to them. So I'll insert some of the maps into this. Luckily, there was a wooded area down here, and the cottages of Offerton haven't changed since J.G. Hayden did that map. So you were able to locate the exact spot. And at the time, when it was reported that these skeletons had been found, they hadn't given a name to the street, so it was never reported. It was just skeletons found and so on. But this goes all the way down to the edge of South Hilton. I've never been down past there before. Probably wouldn't want to either. As you can see, bit of a wooded area. Because what had happened a couple of years ago, I was looking into random skeletons that had been found in Sunderland, such as there was one in Blandford Street, one over in Roke, and there's quite a few, and a couple on Chester Road back in the 1800s and so on. And most of them were just taken away at the museum and never established where they had actually come from. I'm just hanging around down here a bit because there's some people up the top, and also I don't want to get other people in, dog walkers and so on, until I go around to where the actual location of the house is. There it was discovered. Now, where this all stemmed through between 1639 and 1651 was the Wars of the Three Kingdoms. which involved the English Civil War, the Scottish Civil War, Cromwell's invasion of Ireland and Scotland, the Bishops' War in Scotland, a mixture of religion, the power of the king, the power of Parliament, people with different aims right across the kingdoms. So I'm not going to go too much into the English Civil War and all that, because you can just go on Google, you probably know loads of it yourself anyway. But the English Parliament did a deal with the Scottish Covenanters who were ruling Scotland at the time. They were into Presbyterianism, and they wanted Presbyterianism to be established as the religion of England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. So the Parliament did a deal with them, which was really they weren't going to keep to the bargain for that. So a Scottish army invaded the north of England, and a detachment marched down roughly what is Hilton Road is today and set up camp at Bishop Wearmouth Pans, which is that area next to Wearmouth Bridge, and you could still see some of the just describe it, defensive works as late as the 1700s. So the Scottish Army were here, the Royalists were in County Durham and in Newcastle. So the Scots had guards posted up at Humbledon Hill to keep an eye out on if anything was going to approach the town, and the Scottish were there. So the Royalists approached from sort of around Penshire area, and that was March the 4th the Scots arrived, and on March the 7th the Royalists approached from right around Penshire, Offerton way. So the Scots came out, but it was difficult to have a battle because it was wintry weather, there were snowstorms, there was also hedges, so it wasn't easy to have a battle. So there was hundreds of men involved in this particular skirmish, and many men did die. Now there's various accounts of how many men died. One guy has on that, because it was the 7th when they started, and on the 8th there was a heavy snowstorm, so there was a small skirmish on this morning, and he reported that there was 3 or 4 on either side died on the 8th of March. I've seen other reports where there was 32 died in total, and another 26 by the way, whatever that meant. So we're talking there's about 50 odd. Another report which said 40 odd. So you can pretty be sure that there was actually a few dozen men were killed and buried. They were buried low down because it was a really cold time. This was in March, lots of snow, and they were only buried about 18 inches below the surface for that. So this is how this place has ended up being called the battlefield. So let's have a look. So hopefully everybody's gone from up here, and we'll go around. Oh yeah, it's a bit more empty now, but I think there was a cannonball found here as well at some point in this area. Now, the particular house that has these remains, most of them are under the living room of one of them. There was a few clues to the house as well, I mentioned before. It was facing west, and there isn't that many houses in Pennywell which face west with bay windows. And this particular house matches exactly the spot on the map where must be, we reckon it is H.G. Hayden had done that. So as you can see, up on the edge of Pennywell. But this is a rather wooded area. Right, if anybody's not been up here, it's right next to this turning circle for the buses up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk round. I'm not going to go too close to the house because obviously it's somebody's house, and might be people looking about. It's about 7:20, something like that. So apologies for taking so long to get around to do this video. I think one of the reasons was because there's a lot of stuff to put into the video, and when I did the stories on the Facebook type of things, it was 3 different long stories mixed together. So when I want to repost this, I can't just paste one story. I'll have to put things together, because when I did the stories originally, it was about, I think this is a dead end. It was about finding the place, because at the time I wrote it I didn't know where it was, but thanks to Bill finding those maps. But it's a piece of Sunderland history. You can see there's Pennywell now. And I've never been down that way. Let's have a look down here, because I think this is part of the battlefield as well. But it'd be nice if there was a blue plaque outside the house, wouldn't it? Just, you know, it's probably shame is that there's no time. Well, there is Time Team now, but you know, back in the day when it was quite a big programme on like mainstream TV, because you wouldn't have to dig down, because on this map it was plotted where metatarsals were found and so on. So as you can see, these particular houses are right on the very edge of where the battlefield was. But it wasn't just here, it was to and fro across all these particular fields up to Oxton, I think over Grindon as well. But what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to actually do a post on YouTube where you can put in photos. So it's not a video, it's just, and I'll put some of them there because some of you won't know, go on be in Sunderland history and the other places that I'll post on that. So let's have a look. Got to bloody hope this card works, because I live in Ashbrook, so this is like 3.5 miles away, unless a jog. So the actual street where the house is, here, look at that, somebody's got the Christmas decorations up already. So, and if by any chance that I've got the calculations wrong, it would be this house on the end there, the semi-detached with all the cars on the front. There's a sign for Pennywell. So we're coming down here. As you can see, some sort of like burger van. It's the house next to that, but the bodies are mainly under the furthest side of this semi-detached house rather than on the left. So there we have it. Under that house there's dozens of skeletons from the Wars of the Three Kingdoms, which ended in 1651. So I'm going to go now because I've got a journey to get home, and thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy that, please give it a like and click on the subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.